Hey, Yang Gang. Can you guys see us? It's like the stupidest question. We are finally here. Let me wake everybody up. Hey, Yang Gang. It says unable to connect. So if there's anybody here, can you let us know if you can see us and hear us? It says unable to connect to chat.
Try that thing again. You cannot see.
Are you live? Are you on it?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Hang on. Oh, crap. Yeah, we're not on it. Here, hold this.
Try to connect the internet again.
It says we're connected.
Try to connect it.
Oh, we're live now. Can you guys hear us? Somebody say something. New is saying something. Hi! Hey, Yang Gang.
You're so down over here.
It's what?
So down.
Can you like pull that closer?
Yeah.
No, I think it's like one setting.
No.
Oh shoot. let me drink off screen.
You can drink. People enjoy.
Yang Gang, can you guys let us know if we actually made this work? I see it says that there's 10 people here.
One.
There's one person. Oh, we fucked it up. Is it working?
It's working. They say.
Who's saying it? I don't see
Spider.
anything.
Hi, Spider.
Spider, hey. Hey, Michael. You're like the only person here according to New.
Hey, David.
Do we have other people here?
Hey, Natalie.
Who?
Natalie.
What?
Noodly.
Noodly Lord. Oh, hey, dude.
Bad bitch.
Why is that not showing up for us?
So you guys can let us know what you guys wanna.
Okay, so
Like, ask
you
our
can see it.
questions.
Okay, so we're gonna have to follow the live chat from New's phone because it's not showing up for me for whatever reason. So anyway, you guys know me, Heidi, Veterans for Yang. This is New. She's BB Lovely on Twitter. She is OG Yang Gang. I'm sure you guys know her. You probably follow her. She is actually one of the first people that I met in the Yang Gang, and she's probably one of my closest friends in the Yang Gang. So I'm here in Minneapolis because a friend of mine's getting married, and I'm a bridesmaid, so I'm gonna do that whole wear a dress thing. And so I was like, who in Minneapolis wants to get together? I'm doing a live stream, and New said she wanted to do it. Oh, we're live now. Oh my god. Is it working?
Yeah.
Is there any? This is my first ever live stream. What does it say?
Yeah, this is my first time live stream to you. I have an accent, so I'm not comfortable speaking online. But because I love you guys so much, and I love Heidi.
Come closer. So New is originally from Vietnam. I think if you didn't know that, yeah. So she's originally from Vietnam. She's been here for how long?
Let me see.
You don't know how long you've been here?
So I think they can hear us, right? No?
Can you guys hear us?
I think so, yeah. Oh, he loves our accent. Okay.
What's that?
Yeah, you can follow. Since you guys already know Heidi, I'm just gonna do a quick kind of introductions about myself. So my real name is New. It's like NHU. I just don't want to go by that name because people can never say my name right. So I go by BB. It's like a cute nickname that I got from my families when I was young. So I came to the United States when I was 16 years old. So probably say like 14 years ago. And I went to Minnesota first, and I've been living here for like 14 years. So I went here for high school, college, my first master degree, and I'm in my second right now. And I'm kind of heavily background in mathematics and finance, and right now I'm doing a master degree in data science. So I'm very like my boyfriend called me like a nerd.
New is, yes, a giant nerd, and she is literally one of the smartest people in the Yang gang. So you guys heard she's got like multiple degrees, and they're all in math and data and you know, yeah, she's really smart. So we're really lucky to have her. And the thing is she was instrumental in Iowa. New came to Iowa, what, like every week?
So I got done with my final in December.
Yeah.
And so the Minneapolis Yang gang, they went to Iowa every weekend in December. Start off right away. And so I joined them the January month, so right before caucus, and I kind of volunteer on the caucus night too. So I was in with the whole experience of what caucus like and what might went wrong that we think, and just kind of very emotional events that night. So,
yeah. She was in Iowa almost as much as I was in Iowa. So, and I know it was like a culture shock. I live in South Dakota. I'm kind of used to like Iowa. New lives in Minneapolis, and if any of you guys are if you've ever been to Minneapolis, it's kind of like New York in that it's a city unto itself. Like, it's a big city, and people literally like never leave.
It's not like New York City. It's I say it's a very Midwestern. It's super cold, but we have a very nice kind of nice weather in summer, autumn, and what's it now? The spring one.
Oh, it's not spring now.
But Minnesota is a very nice place. We have an awesome kind of like cities with a lot of like nice things, like restaurants, things to visit, and then very good companies around here. We have like, I work at 3M, so we have like 3M, Medtronic, Boston Scientific. So like many big companies in Minnesota. So you can have a good job and cheap living expense comparing with like New York City or Chicago or San Francisco or things like that. So that's why I stick around here.
Yeah, Minneapolis it's like living in a lot of these big cities without the price. It's a lot cheaper. So yeah, it's too soon to talk about Iowa. Hey, we were there. We can talk about Iowa. We're ready to talk about Iowa, James.
Who's James?
James Moore. He's a veteran.
Oh.
He's one of our veterans for Yang.
So what
David Duke, is that your real name? I'm just wondering. Because if it's not, I'm from Louisiana, and that just is not that's your real name. Okay, then I'll leave it alone. I was like, oh my gosh, please don't. Do you know who David Duke is?
No.
The other David Duke? Yes, he knows who the other David Duke is. I'll leave it to you guys to Google it. Oh, it's Mick. Hey, Mick.
Cool.
Mick is here.
Hey, Mick.
Josh Ono, Spider-Man sent me here. Spider-Mang. Hey, Spider-Mang. We've got a lag going on here.
So, do you guys have any questions you guys want to ask?
Ask us anything about Iowa.
Or ask about us. Anything that you guys want to know about us.
Or about me and New. Hey, girls. Hey, Mick. You're next on the live stream, by the way. We've never actually met in person, even though you did come to Iowa, and thank you for that.
We met,
I didn't meet Mick. Did you meet Mick?
I met her quick. I'm a very shy person.
Yeah.
In those kind of events, I am not really talkative or social.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes me at least talk.
Yeah. You talk to me.
We talk online for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so lucky. So how I met Heidi was that was creeping on one of the Yang posts, and then I saw her frustration on like the Facebook and thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna add her into a chat group, and we like try to contact her.
Everybody knows me from my frustrations.
So I was lucky, right?
Yeah.
And then I got to meet Heidi in one of our events.
It was at the UBI March. I think that's where we first met. So I spoke at the Minneapolis UBI March. So that's where I met you and the Minneapolis Yang Gang.
Yeah.
But that's funny that I was venting frustrations, and that's how you met. It's like the story of how everybody knows me. Like if they see me on Twitter, telling Birdie Bros no when they ask for an endorsement.
But I mean, at that point, I think it was like early June, July
that
we met, and Yang Gang was having a bad reputation on welcoming women in.
Yeah.
So I was trying really hard, just at least online, that having kind of like a welcome environment and be able to talk with as many as women as we can, because to keep women inside of our cycle is tough, but to push them away is so easy. So I think that was one of the thing that as the Yang Gang we need to do a little better. And once you see something that the woman complain about, the first time rule is not jumping in and accuse them and kind of like say shit about it. Just be silent and
that is how we first met. When I made waves when I first joined the Yang Gang. It was late summer. It was like probably the end of June. And I joined the base camp group on Facebook, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
It was a rough place for women back then. And I, like, the kind of person I am, I like immediately started cleaning house. I'm like, I'm going to handle this, right? And that was like the first thing I tweeted at Andrew was like, so I got on Twitter because they're like, if you want to talk to Andrew, get on Twitter. So I got on Twitter and just tweeted right at him. I'm like, your base camp is it's bad, right? And to his credit, like the campaign reached out to us. They actually they worked like directly with us on that. And like you never can really get rid of, like, you can't, just like he says, you can't legislate like racism away. You can't moderate sexism away, right? So, the moderators did a much better job after that. And like base camp, they really were on it. I actually had a long talk with one of the moderators, and they really worked hard. But it's just not something that, you can, like I said, you can't moderate it away. So that's how we first met. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I mean, like we had a lot of, like, I've been, listening to a lot of online, and I know that there's a lot of issue coming from either the campaign or like the group. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if we are smart, we have to overcome it.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
We see the problems, but at the same time is either number one is you complain about it, or number two, you do something about it.
Absolutely.
And I would rather do something about it. And, if it's either the kind of like accuse them or like complain about it, we should kind of like create an environment that is safe and try to reach out to them and make them feel like they welcome in, even though they see some sort of issue with our movement.
Yeah.
And I think that by the end we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they did. They really did. Yeah.
We definitely have some sort of like drama online, but I think at the kind of like local and we much better on like with activities and stuff. So I think that the next time we come around, we need to kind of get off online a little bit and be like on the ground.
Go from, as I keep saying, URL to IRL. So, okay, Devin is here. Devin Rashi from, did you ever meet him in Davenport? No. He was our field organizer in Davenport. He has his own podcast, Devin, if you want to like drop the link to it. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know what I'm doing on YouTube. But if you can, feel free. Hey, Devin. Let's see. Yeah, the Facebook group's a lot. It's awesome now. It was kind of not so good. Okay, so James said when we canvassed in Iowa, it felt like Iowans didn't. Okay, so Iowans literally go through this, and it's not even every 4 years; it's every 2 years. So they do know, that everyone is here to like and to a lot of Iowans, they feel like you're here to affect their election. So I was honestly a lot of times, and I'm a South Dakotan. I a lot of times did not say that I was even a South Dakotan. I'm a neighbor, and they're pretty cool with neighbors. I just would not mention that I wasn't an Iowan, because they, I mean, think about it. They know that you're literally coming into their state to affect their own election. And yes, they are like the catalyst for a candidate like Andrew, or they can be, because they were for Barack Obama in 2008. They literally launched him. They know their power, but at the same time, they can also be very like territorial about people coming in to affect what is literally their own election. The other states don't really get it like Iowa gets it. I live in South Dakota. Our primary is in June. Nobody cares about us. Nobody comes to our state to knock on our door and bother us for like, a whole year like they do for Iowans. And so I think coming into the state and like wearing like all your Yang gear and saying, hey, I'm from out of state here to try and convince you because maybe I know better than you, or whatever, like it's kind of like they can see through it. So like if you worked with someone like say Matt Austin, that was in Iowa, from where was Matt from? Pennsylvania or Indiana. He's from Indiana. He would tell you literally, like, if you go canvas, don't wear your like your math or whatever. Don't tell them that you're from out of state. Don't even tell them like you're there representing a specific candidate. You you have to put yourself in Iowans' shoes. So anytime we like made the news about, like the Yang campaign brought in 1,000 people from all over the country. It was great to the Yang gang. We really loved like the publicity, and we loved seeing our, Andrew in the news and our campaign and volunteerism in the news, but it didn't exactly always play as well with Iowans. And New lives in Minnesota. She can tell you a bit about like the Minnesota nice thing is also it's also an Iowan thing. They won't necessarily tell you that they may not exactly appreciate. I
think like with the
out-of-staters.
So like for me, like there's few things that I've observed during the canvassing things. Mm-hmm. I think like the number one is that a lot of Yang gang who came to Iowa with a really great passion, which is great. However, we kind of lacked the experience when we go canvassing. So we wasn't sure of what we should have said, what technique that we should have used, and what thing we can do in order to build that communities in order for us to kind of caucus. Caucus is very unique in a sense that it's kind of like it's a community kind of come together and vote. And so I think one of the things that we did a little bit wrong is that we did too late for the what's that called, like the captain?
A precinct captain.
Yeah, the precinct captain.
Yeah, we were late on that.
So for like Minnesota, Yang gang, where we kind of like, take us to like 2 hours to drive, we built the community up the north, like Mason City in the Northwood, for like literally like 2 months. And what that means is that we came down here every single weekend. We did like the New Year's event. We did like the Chinese New Year's, and we try to talk to people as much as we can. A couple of us have very cool techniques. It's kind of like you need to treat them like a business. Like it's not like you came and you knock on their door and then you leave and then you be done. Like you need to be able to kind of navigate down of is like, is there someone that really interested in Yang, someone that is a little bit curious about him, and someone is like not at all.
Yeah.
So like for the one that is really into him and the one that is like curiosity in learning about Yang, we need to do like second and third time and fourth time kind of knocking on doors and kind of like keep talking to them. We need to kind of like listen to them of like, okay, what's the issue that they care about, and kind of like try to kind of a little bit like psychological is like what you think that they care about and what you think that might do something for them that they kind of like about you.
Yeah.
And the second thing is like need to navigate and find the influencer of that town.
Yes, absolutely.
So like you're not just gonna talk to some random person on the block and be able to say, okay, they Yang gang and we done. Like I don't think that is working at all. I think that we need to kind of be able to a little bit canvas a bit earlier. That's why I think Pete was successful because he invested in Iowa very early.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I think we have to do better is that be able to kind of build communities in Iowa.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the whole Iowa, if we're focusing on the 2 districts, the same thing. But we need to be able to look at the data and figuring out which precinct will worth of kind of investing in it. And then number 2, once you have that data, you need to be able to kind of really knocking on doors on those people. And then when you found out that these people is number 1 is really Yang gang, and number 2 is like interested in Yang, we need to build the relationship with them.
Yes.
Be able for them to like us,
absolutely,
trust us, and be able to like like willing to even like driving in like a super cold day and volunteering and then be precinct captain. Because when you go in caucus, if you are strangers, they're not gonna listen to you. So that was a failed one. But if you have someone that's super like involvement in that community, people will listen to them.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the things too. And be happy and be like positive and one that's all I see that is that Yang was super he was acceptance in Iowa, but they were kind of friend zone him first. And
Yang was friend zoned in Iowa.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And people was like they like him, but they think that he's too early. So that was literally like the reason why. But at the same time, like when I look at the numbers, like we invest late. So we came into Iowa like literally like 4 weeks before we caucus. We get like 9,000 people come out and vote for Yang. I think that was successfully.
Yes,
I think like successfully. So don't like even think that it's a fail. Like we failed, but we achieved something.
Yeah.
And the next round we're coming is like we're not gonna come canvas in 2024. We better come up like canvas like 2022.
Absolutely.
So
that's the Bernie playbook. And it's not even so much the campaign's fault. Like we literally didn't get the money to even play until the end of Q3, right? So we were behind. We started out behind the curve already. We started late. Bernie's been there since 2016, and Bernie couldn't even overcome. I think an important point. Bernie couldn't even overcome the fact that there were 2 Midwesterners on their ballot or at their caucus location, Amy and Pete. So Bernie's been there for 4 years. Bernie spent, by the time Iowa had caucused, and he didn't spend all of this on Iowa, but at that point he had spent $90 million, right? They knocked on 500,000 doors and they made 5 million phone calls into Iowa to tie with Pete Buttigieg. So 4 years, countless, all this money, all this, all these volunteers, and so like Iowa. Okay, and we like to talk about in Iowa. We would say it's not a bad thing, if Yang doesn't do well in Iowa, because Bill Clinton got 2.8% in Iowa and won the presidency in 92. But the thing is nobody campaigned in Iowa in 92 because an Iowan was running. So with Iowa, if there is a local, that's kind of usually that's who they're going to vote for. And a lot of Iowans considered Amy like their adopted senator, which Devin could probably answer to that. And then Pete, Indiana, he's a Midwesterner, and they both came in there and played that, I'm a local, I'm your hometown candidate as much as you're going to have a hometown candidate. So it was always an uphill battle. And with any luck, Iowa will not be caucusing in 2024 because the caucusing format is just it is the worst thing, and it's the worst thing for candidates like Andrew, because you literally have to, in front of God and country and your family and friends, stand in the corner of the guy that's giving away money. Okay, that like you know that your neighbors are looking at you and judging you. So unless you brought like a whole crew that can stand the scrutiny, it's a hard sell. Like the caucusing is just very disenfranchising. And people that do benefit from Andrew's policies, they're working their second job or they can't get a babysitter. Like you have to be there at 7 o'clock, right? You have to be there before 7 o'clock because at 7 o'clock they close the doors. There was no early voting. Like at least in Nevada, they could do early voting. They could go like days ahead. Iowa, you have to be there 7 o'clock and ready to go. And that is for people that's for your moderates, really. People that vote for your moderates, they're retired or they're very comfortable or, it's very easy for them to be there at 7 o'clock. So
and then also one of the things that I think that why Bernie failed is because people in Iowa know they're very smart in politics. They often think that because of Trump, they want to keep the Senate blue. And so they would think like, okay, even though they like Elizabeth Warren a lot, or even Amy, or even like Sanders, they would stick with someone that is not a Senate at that moment. So they either pick Biden or Pete because they're not in the Senate House. And then a lot of people have an issue where they think that Biden and Bernie is very old. And so they go with like either Pete and Yang.
They didn't know Pete was married to. I saw that video where that lady was caucusing for Pete, and then somebody told her that he was gay, and she's like, he hid that front. Like that was terrible.
I think it was like it's like 0.01% of.
Yeah, that's not like not all.
It's not all.
No.
I think that Pete just come off like very like nice, and they invested like on the ground like very early, and so they was be able to build like that like again. Like the community, like the relationship with the people living in that town, and he was like top, like the campaign was the top notch on that ground game. So they did very well. They just don't have that passion that like us. So that's one of our weaknesses. But again, like Yang invested super late. We went in super late, but we only like 20,000 vote away, which is not that far away from that, and so. I think that we just have like a wrong strategies. We do have like a gap in the campaign staff itself. We was lacking of experience, and the fourth one is that I think that like the race also was one of the issue too, because a lot of people like Yang and Pete at the same time, but they would pick Pete like right away. So I don't know if that, and then they would say Pete have experience and stuff, but like at the same time, it's like if you look at these two guys and you like them both, and then somehow you go with Pete but not Yang, I just feel like there's something right away that they think the white guy is better than the Asian. So that's just my own experience. It's not a lot, but I do see it. And so, yeah, so that was one of our experience. So next time I feel like we can win it, we just need to be well prepared and have some kind of like a cheat sheet and then like the guidance that we can build very early on. And so that's sort of a thing too, is that me and my Minneapolis, like there's a wonderful lady. She was one of like our rookie, like the leaders on the Minneapolis, and we plan to go in Iowa this summer to the neighbors that we've been heavily invested in and keep in touch with them, because we know that if Yang run in 2024, that we might have a chance to win that precinct and district. And so that's what we need to do, is that anyone that close to the borders, we should just go in and hang out with them and keep the relationship, go to the there's only one coffee shop in the towns, and go to those places and talk to people early on and building that from the ground, from now.
That's something I was trying to do. And that they adopted it as like a strategy. I was like, look, we're not in our communities, but it's not hard to Yang people. Like we need to be having these Yang gang hangs as often as we can. They need to see us in their communities. They need to that's what Pete was doing. That's what Bernie was doing. And so that's, it's something we will be doing for the next 4 years. It's literally Devin's job is to, in the next 4 years, hit up every coffee shop wearing his math gear and getting Iowa ready. I hope things are different in 2024 for Iowa. Like I said, I hope they're not a caucus. They may, you never know what happens. Maybe they won't even be the first state because they're really not representative of the United States. So
and then if we're not happy with the campaign,
can Spider-Man get rid of Kevin? and his Trump 2020. Oh, I took a picture with Berman Supreme in New Hampshire. I know who Berman is. Free ponies for everyone. Boot head.
Yeah, I really like holograms experience. I think that sometimes that he's like a very well traditional kind of politics, and a lot of his point was on point. So number one is that we really need to build the relationship with like the POC, like the communities, like Black and the Latinos and the Asians. But at the same time, like I'm an Asian, and I would tell you this is that if an Asian guy try to kind of come off right away with the Black communities, it's not that easy, especially that nobody know who he is, and he tried to literally give them money so like they will have a skeptical. You know how they pick Biden, right? Because Biden been there for 40 years and he built that relationship that long.
Yeah.
So like even if Yang,
they know Joe and Joe knows you.
Yeah. So like name recognitions and then I think that's why I'm so glad that Yang's building that nonprofit, because his goal literally is building that kind of what they call like reputations, right?
Yeah.
And he make it happen, and he will show the communities. And when if he run it again in 2024, like he has it in on his resume, and that people can trust him a little bit more. That's the issue too. And then yeah.
Well, and the thing is, and there's we've had a lot of people that have their opinions on how things should have been done. The fact of the matter is to me, if Andrew would have been running his campaign the way of traditional politics, Andrew would have been like a Michael Bennett or any of the other candidates that never like really launched. The fact that we came as far as we did for being total unknowns was literally because of we ran a different campaign. It obviously wasn't enough to propel him to the presidency, but it put him in a position, like in a way better position than everyone else that's dropped out. Like right now, Andrew is a pretty hot commodity, like CNN scooped him up right away. He's signed with that CAA agency. That's my friends. He's by his, like things he's done that a lot of people don't really agree with. That's how he's gotten as far as he's gotten. So I don't completely agree with people that have these ideas about how things should have been ran. And it's easy to say with hindsight. I will be right back. I've got some people knocking on my door. So New is going to handle things.
I mean, like if we look at like Warren, for example, Warren have almost like $100 billion. So she has a very strong grassroots financials. She have wonderful staffing grounds. She's been able to open offices in 30 states. She have endorsement coming from Black communities, Asian communities, and Latino communities, and she's still losing. And like if you look at the delegate number that she get, compared with like Biden and Bernie at that moment, it's like a zero, because it literally is too small for her to make any impact in her presidency. So and then Biden did not do anything. Like he did not run on anything at all, but he still, somewhat kind of pulled a string. I was kind of shocked of how Biden even performance in Minnesota, because when we have a state fair back in like the summers, Warren was like hot market. Like she came into one of the biggest university in Minnesota. She had like a huge grounds, and she had so much support. Like the people that voted for Minnesota was like huge Hillary Clinton's back in 2016, and then Bernie won in 16 as well. But Biden won the state. So I was like, what's going on? So I mean, like there's a lot of things that contribute into like a successful campaign, but to 100% like blame on the campaign itself, I think is not the right way to do. I think that we need to be able to build like a grassroots organizations, kind of us independently, and be able to more like proactive on the ground games, and then do not wait for the campaign, and have a thick skin. Like if you're not happy with someone, just move around and do the thing that you need to do. Like don't let someone kind of like pull you back, and then like like some people like, oh, I'm not gonna campaign because someone in the campaign like made me unhappy. I think it's just counterproductive. It's like, I work for 3M we have like 10,000 people in like a 3M. If I have like issue with one person and I quit my job, I think it's just not the right way to go. So I think that we have 4 years and literally like no, maybe like 3 years, and we need to be, if we want a UBI and we want his platform to be happen for us and for our generations, we need to put on like a lot of work. So and he also, Yang is being nonstop of working, and he working on it. So
Jamie asked any critique about the TV ads or the amount of money spent. Obviously the TV ads were, I mean, you can look at it multiple ways, like could have been a giant waste of money. The fact is you're not even considered a serious candidate unless they see you on their TV screen every 30 seconds in the lineup with literally everyone else. I think that the ads themselves, I don't think were that effective. I think the Yang Gang did just way better ads that the campaign could have used and for free than what they got from the media agency that they hired. Like James Treacle's ads, he did our veterans ad, if any of you guys have seen it. That thing was amazing. And I kept trying to get the campaign to use it, and they never did. They had this, this contract with Ted Devine or Devine, however you say his name.
By the way, go follow James. He's
follow James Treacle if you're not. He is amazing.
He has a lot of experience doing political ads, and his point of view is very interesting too. So it's not bad to follow him. I think the ads kind of worked. The way that I think about is you either invest in 2016, like invest now, or you have to pay, like do a lot of ads in 2020. I think with the amount of money that Yang introduced himself in Iowa this year, he won't have to spend like that much in 24. So I think it's how I see it, is that you either pay it now or you pay later. And I think it's okay. I don't think that is like, some people say like it's super terrible, but to me it's like, it's get some return. It's just not that as
they had to do it. It was something that they had to do. And I got to see how the money was spent. I can tell you that they spent it. They like every dime was spent like with they put a lot of consideration into it. Like I said, Andrew himself was very frugal. He often was at the Super 8 with the rest of us. Like when they're doing their bus tour. I never saw any kind of waste or, they got the money and they made a play to try and do the traditional campaign in Iowa. It was just very last minute, and it was too late. And obviously it didn't work out in the end for us. And, like, should he have skipped Iowa? Like, skipping Iowa or skipping the first states is almost kind of like a privilege thing. It's something Bloomberg can do. But when you're a candidate with no name recognition, with no, like, just coming out of nowhere, it's almost that you have to make a play in Iowa and in New Hampshire. Because you can see, like, unless you're Joe Biden or Bloomberg, you just will not be taken seriously if you try and do something like that. Like, I love Tulsi, but they don't take her seriously. She's just really not taken seriously. She's not invested in, like her strategy has been, she's very light. She's not spending. She doesn't have any staff. She's not spending much money on advertisements or anything like that. And when you play that kind of game, they don't take you seriously.
But I mean, like, I was at the night of caucus. I was at the town of like literally like 1,000 people, and our whole room was about like 40 people. And then Yang was one of the top 6 that we have people that decided to caucus for him. And I talked with the one group and Amy Klobuchar, and like a lot of them like Yang. So I think that he's appealing to rural area was great. And it's just telling me that, okay, we was unlucky. This year we have so many candidates, but if we were going to try again, we think we can win. And if Yang can appeal to that group of people in a town of 1,000 people with all like farming, I think he has a great future. And like I would say, like the precinct captain, it was like she was, I think, a lesbian, so she feel appeal to Pete. But I'm just saying,
okay.
like Yang, the way that he talk his points really get to people. Like I know some people like really get up with his like giving money, wording, or like how he words, but the way that he chose his wording and the way that he chose how he present his idea really click into people, especially the one that is like out of like like boomers and like very conservative kind of Democrat, like that, those people. And like like Bernie Wood is like working, but I feel like it's only for like a smaller groups. And the way that Yang play, he go for like a broader kind of audience. And so I mean, like I understand like the techniques that people like kind of criticize Yang, but I think that we did something good in Iowa, and I feel like that is something that we can improve. Like how you work in the job too is that when you have a big project, you might fail the test for the first one, but you don't stop there, right? You know what, you failed it, and you have to evolve and you have to improve it. And I think that we can definitely do it in 2024. It's just that if we put our heart and strategies, and if we have the resources, that we can win Iowa.
Hey, Spider-Man, can you boot that one guy, please? So Captain, it seemed like the campaign was trying to avoid us vets. What do you mean? I mean, I'm a veteran. Andrew, in my opinion, was a huge fan of his veterans group. I was a burner in 2016, and if there was anyone that tried to avoid their veteran group, it's kind of Bernie Sanders. So maybe I'm just I don't know, but I felt like Andrew really, really loved his veterans.
I think also like I'll be honest.
And yes, more Facebook ads, definitely.
I think also is that like a lot of people get spoiled. Like the way that Andrew kind of like sometimes retweeting his supporters or like answering some people.
Yeah.
It creates kind of like things that if I don't get answering, that mean I'm not important. I think
I think
that is we good outs. Like come on, like we're not like a fan of the person.
You'll see, like most candidates don't interact with their supporters like Andrew did. That was a strategy.
Like if we have like 1,000 of veterans in our support teams, like are we expecting to answer all 1,000? Like I don't think so, right? I met him like 3 times, and I was so shy, and I don't even like talk to him or like do anything, like try to do that. But what I can feel is like he's sincere. People like he's just like a normal person, Like if he has time, he will get to know you. So it's not like he avoiding anything or he's like ignoring anyone. I think he's like a machine. Like he always like run busy, and then he just cannot do so much. And I think that
his bandwidth is very limited.
I think like we have too much of high expectation. I felt like sometimes Yang is like
he didn't know
the most conservative Asian parents. Like if you don't get an A+, then everything is like screwed off.
Yang, you are like Asian parents. Like, I can see that. And it's true. Like my mom himself just doesn't have the bandwidth we all expected him to have. He's literally he did 77 events in January. He was going from event to event to event. That was his job, was to go to events and talk to the media. So he was really, his campaign was. I mean, obviously he is the boss, and the buck stops with him. But like, just the amount of bandwidth someone in that position has is almost none. So,
I mean, if you care about the movement, if you really care about the UBI, if you really care about anything else, and if you trust him, then don't get those things kind of preventing you from doing something. And like we just like they're just human, like just me, like. I sometimes don't remember people's names. I sometimes don't even remember like.
That's my name, new.
Beth.
Just start with know my name. She said Beth. Okay.
No, she's Heidi. I know that.
Okay.
But I think like we need to stop that.
Yeah.
Like that's humanity first. It's not about like always to be nice, but be able to like forgive. Be able to kind of like see the positive side of that person. Like if you see someone even like negative, judge him for like 2 seconds and overcome that.
Yeah.
And try to be like, I know Heidi sometimes she's very strict, But at the time she's very nice. So focusing on that nice side and forget about the side of
giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. So I think that's what like Andrew doing very well on that.
Okay, so yeah, as for Yang being taken more seriously by the media, Yamalex, yeah, I agree. And that's why I think his CNN role is brilliant, because they're taking him seriously now. They get to see that he is an intelligent, very steady person. He like literally gets to show the world how he is the total 180 of Donald Trump. Like every time he's on CNN, he's normalizing himself and he's normalizing his message. So there's a lot of things I would have changed about 2020. There's so many things I wish we did that we didn't do. But to me, he is taking the right steps for the future.
And then plus a lot of people, when they look at Yang, they think that Yang is very good at economies, but he have no politics experience. And Yang did a phenomenal move of being a politicals commander, that telling them what he thinks about politics. He can talk about strategies, and people can see him like, okay, he understands politics, right? Like they can change their mind. And I mean, like, I'm pretty moderate, so I watch CNN a lot, and I can tell like CNN is not that bad. I mean, sometimes I get misled, but they still like very professional, and they still have like a global names.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I go back to Vietnam, and we still watch CNN like international in Vietnamese, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good thing. It's like it's not like selling out. I think that is some people just too much about that. I think it's like if you don't trust Yang to be like being POTUS is even more like selling out. Like if you can't even constrain yourself in CNN, how can you constrain yourself being like president of America, like the man who holds so much power, So I think that is that skeptical. Yeah, I understand that, but then I'm like, it's not really like illogical thing about it. Like like if he want to be president of the United States, and if you observing on CNN, you think that he's really selling out, then it's we're not a couch, like get out of it,
Yeah, and you can't be isolationist. Like that's a lesson that I think Bernie Sanders campaign and supporters are learning now. Like they're really very isolationist, very anti everything, and it's not working. It's we're seeing a referendum really against that now, because I mean, people get tired of like they do want to give other people the benefit of the doubt. They do want to think that that someone isn't like a terrible, horrible person, whatever. And to be like on like an extreme side, like on the Bernie Sanders side, you have to believe these very strict and narrow things, and I think people just don't really like that. So I like that Andrew is doing the things that he needs to do to get his message out there versus versus being the strict ideological, like never wavering. I mean, that's great in principle, but like I like Bernie Sanders. I was a Bernie supporter in 2016, but there's a reason that he's spent 30 years fighting for these things, and it's because he's so isolationist, so like just unwavering, unwilling to work with anyone else, and you really can't do that. So no, I really love the steps that Andrew's taking. What else I said?
What about skipping Iowa altogether by most people in his nomination? So Michael, are you answering that?
Y'all give us some questions. Ask us. Like
David, I'm so glad that Andrew Yang be able to help you with the PTSD. I think that like my boyfriend was also a veteran, and he also a PTSD. He first off, he was like very skeptical about Andrew and then the UBI things. But I can tell you that he got sold about UBI, and he can even see that like the UBI is like the most direct thing that can impact our life. And me and my boyfriends, like if we receive the UBI, we're gonna pay a negative, like especially me. So I I'm not even like U.S. citizens. I'm Vietnamese still, and I don't get anything. But the way I see that is that UBI is the transformations. It's like the most transformative policies out there. And I feel like even like with the I talked to my boyfriend too. It was like, like my boyfriend enlisted into the army just because he want to get the money so he can go to school. And I feel like UBI can do something that having like Heidi or my boyfriend is like, they don't have to make that choice, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they don't need to make that choice. And then the second thing is that if you really want to talk about the foreign policies, like go around the world, and me, like I'm from Vietnam too, is that you cannot achieve the power unless you pass the power down to the people at the bottoms. And the only way that you can pass the power down to the bottoms is by giving them the capitals, right? And so that's what I think about, is that if we can achieve UBIs, that is how I see that we can reduce the wars, and you know, all the countries are gonna look up to us and doing the UBI things. And to me, healthcare is important too, but I'm from Vietnam. We have a very cheap healthcare. Like I can see doctors anytime I want to. But we're still poor. I mean, like 90% of us is still like living under poverty. And so I think like cash is king, is how Asian people see, is that we see each other, we want to give, we just want cash.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Like you know, we got like lucky money on the New Year Eve. If I have saying something, like people ask me like, what do you want for my birthday? I say, give me cash. If they ask me what I want for my Christmas, I want to give me cash. And so this is kind of weird, like in America, it's so tough to sell the cash ideas. I think that is because of like we've been using credit card for too long, and we don't understand how important cash is. It's like you need to get in your saving account about $12 million, you know, to get like $1,000 in like interest rate with 1%.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's literally like there's no way for you to generate that cash that fast. Mm-hmm. And it's like I was like mind blowing about how hard it is to selling the people how cash can be like transformative. But I talk with Iowans, they're understanding it. Like, and then the ways that we need to canvas in the Iowas is like we really need to be educated ourselves about Yang policies, and be able to not be aggressive, but sound like you're knowledgeable and be able to be like, no.
We did have a problem where we could come across very fanatical, and that can be a little bit of a put off. The thing that I found that every time I talked to someone, they were always stuck at the how do we pay for this? Like that's something I think like the campaign ads should have literally just have an ad that spells out exactly like I'm doing this and I'm not raising your taxes. This is how I'm paying for it. Because everyone I met, that's where they were at. They were like, how are you gonna pay for that? Right. So I had to walk like basically everyone I met through that. So, and then once you explained the VAT to them, which you needed to understand how the VAT worked, they were like, oh, that's cool. You know, I think that was honestly one of our biggest hurdles was that we didn't really get people. It just sounded like a too good to be true because we didn't walk them through the math. We're the math campaign. We should have given them the math.
So you guys like Heidi and her live stream? I know that we kind of talking a little bit randomly about all the subjects, but retweet the videos and get her at least 1,000 people to follow because I was down saying the
live stream,
but I cannot live
from the bar. But I didn't have enough followers to live stream from my phone yet. I was like 30 short, and New just wanted to eat, but we had to come back to my hotel room. So we could do the live stream. Okay, Humanity Forward. I don't know that much about what's going on with Humanity Forward. I did. I talked briefly to Andrew and Zach, and so I'm kind of waiting on word from them as to like what's going to be going on with it. Heidi B. I love her. She's awesome. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right, but it's Brion. I don't know if I said that right. So I'm sorry, Heidi. I know you're not watching, but
I think that
she's really cool.
We need to focusing on the Congress and the Senate, not just like at the federal level, but we need to focusing on the state. I think that we can push UBI for federal, and we can also push UBI at the state level. I think that is awesome. And that's one of the way that I kind of explain to the people when they ask is like, why do you have the same level of UBI across the federal levels? And you can kind of rebuttal that idea by saying that, yes, we can pass the UBI the same way at the federal, but at the same time, you can push for the UBI at the state level where you can adjust that so that you can have both of them.
I think the issue was she wanted to overcome that what Andrew often had a problem with, like it doesn't stack with food stamps. Is that what you're saying? It doesn't stack with food stamps or TAMP or SSI, and she wants it to. Because I'm not totally sure how hers works.
So I talk with a lot of I not talk with a lot of I1s, but here's my experience when I'm on like grounds is that people actually okay with the idea of getting the UBI and then opt out of like SNAP or like the cash programs.
Yeah.
If you
they'd rather the cash.
Yes, if you talk to people, especially people on like the grounds and people on the like you know like the welfare, they understand how painful it is to apply for one and how useless this is when they're receiving it. And it's like, so we need to kind of be able to, number one is like we can learn a lot from online, but a lot of online comments and things is not really what happens on the grounds.
Yeah.
So I hope that if you run on like Colorado, if I'm right, we can get the volunteering from like the Yang Gang to help you like on the ground level and be able to talk to people. And I am not trying to be mean, but I'm hoping that throughout this like coronavirus, people can see the power of continuous cash, right? And we can talk about it. But like, just look at how long the government takes to pass out a test for every one of us. Like, if you want to wait for that, like, good luck, right? And so I think that if you want to stack, it's okay, but it's not like the huge reason why UBI is not relate to people.
Yeah.
And UBI, the way that Yang plan actually click with a lot of centrists and a lot of conservative.
Yeah.
So if you want to play, you know, like smart, like do you really want to focusing on like the 15 to 25% of the progressive, or you want to look more appealing to the centrist and the conservative?
And then the people that it's like the issues that they had, there is almost no one that like would even be in this situation where they kind of made a big deal about like there is almost no one whose welfare benefits equal more than, you know, like the $1,000 a month of just, you know, straight cash. So it was something we never could get past, but it was something that really, like, when you actually talk to people, it wasn't a big like deal. It was just it was that whole libertarian Trojan horse, alt-right, whatever, gutting the social safety net. That was coming from online. That was like, you know, the Bernie surrogates. On the ground, when you explained it to normal, everyday, regular people, they got it, and they didn't sit there like, oh my gosh, let me think of this one instance where it like they were just like trying to add everything. You know, it really wasn't.
What he fight the Yang though is not that issue of welfare. It's actually the healthcare issue.
Yeah, and that was
is that like a lot of people misunderstand. Like if they're watching the ads only, they understand what Yang wants, but a lot of people got that misinformation from, like, I don't want to accuse, but I think like a lot of them get it from the Bernie camp.
Yes. Yeah.
Because like literally like they don't have anything to make Bernie sound better like than Yang, you know.
Yeah,
and the only thing that they can do is the healthcare problems. And I know again, like a lot of people like complain about Yang healthcare, but like if you be able on the ground and talk to the like for the voters. I sell Yang healthcare 100% of the time. If people ask me about that, I will just be able to explaining it, and they like it. So again, like we need to be like get out of online world and be on the ground and talk to people. And the people who vote, sadly, is majority is like the people like 40 plus.
Yeah, in Iowa, it definitely is.
So
and they didn't really need Andrew's policies, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, that's why they like Pete and Amy more, because even though the policies does not do anything for them, but they feel safe, you know, like they feel like that.
So Champagne, hey, she joined us. Golden Boy from my home state of Louisiana is here. So
you guys think of us yet?
I was supposed to give a shout out to someone else and I forgot, and it scrolled past me.
Yeah, it took like a year for SSD, but SSD stuck on UBI, so
yeah,
it's not be a problem.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like the way I talk to them is like, you have like, I'm 30 years old. Like if I would receive like an UBI, I get like 500,000 plus. That means you can pay for a college and you can buy a house. So like the people who complain about it is the people that number one cannot do mathematics, And number two is they need to take like finance literacy. You know, like they
You
need
brought us the math.
like that's the thing is like if you have cash, I just don't know like the rich people they value cash so much, and then like we the one who have no money think
we're like
cash,
no, don't give that to
cash.
us. No.
So, but you know, like I mean, I think because I'm like a finance major, so I can talk in like finance kind of word. But like, think about it. If you have, say, you can put like $6,000 cash into like your Roth IRA, which is like almost like maxed out. From the time you're like 30 years old, you're gonna have a retirement about like $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so like no one policy can do that better than Yang UBI.
Yep.
And is what non-taxable, and yeah, so like
yeah.
And I love that. I think that is phenomenal. I think it's smart because is that like you chose, like you can choose how you can spend your tax, where income tax is like forcing on you. So, I think that I've been able to use that kind of logic on ground, which by some people like it. So,
okay, so to AC's point, the Bernie Bros, like I was one in 2016, and I literally like I was a Bernie bro up until April of last year. I saw Bernie in Iowa.
So she's not a woman; she's a bro.
I'm a Bernie. Never mind. Anyway, and I faced like a lot of like with all because we were a community. Like I was one of those ones that went really far left with the Bernie Bros that was like calling for the revolution and Madame Guillotine. And yeah, we were pretty entrenched. And I'm the only person that I know of from my Bernard brother group that went over to the Yang Gang. But I was just, at that point, I was just like, I had gotten very toxic myself, very angry, very depressed. I already have like my own issues. I have, if you guys know anything about me, I am a PTSD due to military sexual trauma veteran. So I already tend to towards, like having mental, not the best mental health. So like Bernie was like it kind of fed into the negative sides of my mental health, and so it's actually like I will not go back to being a Bernie supporter for that reason. For me, it's like an alcoholic drinking again. Like I don't want to go there again. I just don't want to.
So. Surround yourself with positive people.
Yeah, and I love the positivity, and I find myself lapsing again, like back into like getting that scarcity mindset back often. But it's a fight, especially since Andrew's out now, and it feels like we've just now pushed our fight back another 4 years. But I still would not go back to the Bernie camp personally. So we got anything else? We probably should wrap this up soon. This is like an hour-long live stream. But how is that for our first live stream?
So we have 30 people, and I only see 27 people like. So
is this 29?
29. You better all like it.
Yeah. She knows this stuff better than I do. I'm not even sure if you guys can see me. I'm super old.
You did great. Thank you, Devin.
Thanks, Devin.
Thanks, Spider.
Devin is my buddy for.
So you only say that you were worried Heidi, but not me. I'm so sad.
What's that?
He said that you were worried Heidi.
Thank you. I'm telling you, she is as OG as anyone. If y'all are not following her on Twitter.
Thank you, Champagne. Is that Chichi?
What's
Champagne
that?
is Chichi?
Champagne Diamond?
Yeah.
I can't, I'm blind. I can't read your screen.
So we can take one more question. Do you have
one more question. And
do you
then
have any other questions?
News gotta go. She's trying to not study for her midterm right
now.
now.
Hey, Jamie. Yeah. I think and then one of the experience I want to tell people about the canvassing, pick the day that they have blizzard and knock on people's door.
They have what?
Blizzard, like storm, like snow.
Oh,
storm.
blizzard. Okay.
Blizzard.
Take me a second. Blizzard. Yeah. Knock on their door when they have a blizzard. That seems counterintuitive.
I'm a BB, like BIB.
So she's
on Twitter.
BEBI _ lovely.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Did I met Devin?
You probably met Devin. He was in Davenport. Did you ever go to Davenport?
Oh my God! So okay, so on a Blizzard day, we knock on like $80, which is like the most dollars that we knock.
That's awesome.
And I was able to convince like the most influential people on town because they all outright. But like I knock on like one of like the most respected fool like guy on that town, and then like it just got that way. But you know, like people remember me because I'm like, they call me like the heavy warriors. Like I'm jumping, I'm dancing under like the snowstorms. As people remember.
That's not me.
But again, like you have to like build the relationship. Like even that, you know, like I came back to them like multiple times to be able to see them at least like once or twice.
Yeah.
So. Club chat.
Say Blizzard.
Yeah, I am like
say Blizzard. She's from Minnesota. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So how does your hair hold up in a blizzard?
I got a very nice beanies. What do the Yang Gang be doing now from rap? So I know that we have income movement that you guys should subscribe for it. That they still trying to get Senate and congressmen into for the UBI. So what I'm saying is that we need to focusing on supporting any people that running for the like under like UBI or like data as privacy, like anyone that is aligned with like Yang, and focusing on those race. Do not stop your passion at that moment. Even if we don't have Yang, we need to be saying that we're running for the UBI, and then we need to have all the people like that. You know, make phone calls still, text banking for those people, donating even like $1 or $2, you know, like $5.
Yep.
Because if we don't have people in the Congress that might support Yang, there's no point of getting Yang into the president at all. And we can practice ourselves at the same time. Is that we practice ourselves is like, you know, volunteering, you know, practicing like talking with people on a phone call. And I bet you if you talk to someone of for the congressman, you're gonna talk to them again for the Yang in the 2024. So get yourself volunteering for someone right now. For example, Heidi from Colorado, Mike from Kentucky, David Kim in California, and then Brianna Wu, Massachusetts.
And we actually, there is a challenger to AOC that's a UBI candidate. I can't think of her name right now.
I don't think it's going to be a bit risky. But having Jonathan, even though
Herzog,
even though that he challenged one of the most experienced and well-known Democrat, but it's not going to hurt us to get his name out and talk to people about the UBI. So yes, that's what the Yang Gang should do, is that don't give up our passions, and don't cling on Yang, volunteer for other people, you know?
Yeah, and if
don't be like Bernie Bros.
Absolutely. Don't like a lot of us tend to idolize Andrew, and one, that's a lot of pressure on him, and two, he's always said it's never been his intention necessarily to be president as it is to fix the problems.
Yep.
So he's here to fix problems in whatever capacity. So don't focus on necessarily Andrew running again in 2024. You know, we all would like that, but we have to, like, let's do the work that would help him, but also the work that would literally just help this movement, help get this platform and these ideas out there, whether or not Andrew is at the top of a ticket. So, and that's, like I said, that's been his plan all along, is as long as people are talking about and addressing the issues of automation and literal, you know, ending abject poverty, then he's doing what he set out to do.
So Devin, you live in Iowa?
Devin lives in Davenport.
You need to volunteer for that guy. Who's that guy that running against Steve King?
No, that's not. That's up in the 4th district. It's JD Schulten, who I've met. He's really awesome. But that's like the total opposite side of
things. So drive 3 hours over there and volunteer.
It's the 2nd district that's with Steve King. So yeah, JD is the guy that played Andrew in 3-on-3 basketball. Yeah, I was supposed to be on that team. Maybe they would have won if I was on Andrew's team. I don't know. Probably not. They lost.
Yeah, Champagne. Barrington. I heard that Barrington is running to a very tough person, and I think that we need to get the kind of like the experienced people who say we should like campaign for. Like number one is that guy who run the math pack.
Will Haler. Yeah, and that's
Will
a good
point. So like don't support everyone that running on UBI.
Yeah.
Evaluate them first, and then waiting for the people who have experience, because you don't want to spend too much time on those people that we know. Yeah. So like right now,
we want to go for the wins we can get.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: is we are kind of using Bernie's playbook a little bit, but the thing is like Bernie, it was just him and Hillary. He was able to create a bigger movement, and I was a part of their brand new Congress. They wanted to literally flip 400 seats, and they ended up only running like a couple dozen candidates, and they just flipped one seat, and that was AOC's. So we don't have the money or the resources to throw at every UBI candidate. So that's what Will Haler said. He said we need to identify 3 or 4 races that would, like, if you're in these areas and you want to support these other UBI candidates, absolutely, if you're like in their districts or congressional districts. But us as the Yang Gang, we need to take Andrew's example and be frugal with our money. Like Andrew was extremely frugal with Yang Gang funds. And we need to do that with like our UBI candidates. I would love to support everybody in the UBI caucus, but in some cases we have UBI candidates running against other UBI candidates. If you look at Kentucky, Mitch McConnell has 2 UBI candidates running against him. So, we can't support everyone, and it's really just like watering down our resources to do that.
I think that like the way I see that is like if Mike have the money right now to hiring people, that he has resources, I think that we can invest on him. As long as you can see that you can trust him, and you can see that you want to invest to your time in volunteering for him. In terms of Behrun Khan, the way that I see it is that AOC has been raising a huge amount of money to run, and she's still very popular in her district. Behrun is that like I don't want to be kind of like saying be mean to her and stuff, but I don't think that is worth our money and our volunteering.
If you're in her district, then absolutely support her. But as far as like Yang Gang as a whole supporting a race like that, it's not, it's probably not a good bet. So
Jonathan is a different hand. Jonathan is very young. We can still invest in him, even if he's losing to what's that guy named? The one like the chairman House of Intelligence. What's that guy? Like the old guy. He's old, right? So the chance if we can have Jonathan this time,
we lose. Ageist on my channel, dude. Jeez.
We
have 80-year-olds running for president.
He collapsing in one of the meetings. So what I'm saying is that be strategize, like logical thinking.
Yeah. We need to focus on races we can actually win, right?
Yeah, and then
because we just don't have the resources to put in 400 different races and then get one winner. So.
Yeah, neutral. Push like convert existing politicians. I think that we can convert it.
That's another good idea. Yes,
we definitely can convert AOC. I think that she just invest in Bernie a lot, and that lady, she knows how to talk to people like on the progressive side, and that's why I think that it's a good idea that Yang doesn't align himself with them that much, because I feel like he got smeared like to this point is that I don't think that he can build his reputable on the online. But I mean, like I talked to a lot of Bernie fan on the ground, and they all love Yang. So again, we need to distinguish the online and the outside, and don't group everyone in the same group. And remember that humanity first is that we need to learn how to forgive people, even though they've been very mean to us, and be able to have a civil conversation. And I think that I think it ever seems that Bernie people like attack us online.
Let's learn lessons. We get to watch what they're doing, and we can learn their lessons very easily. Like you see how they are getting so shut down right now, and that's literally like whoever's idea was to tell 70% of Americans that they want people to die from lacking health care because they don't support Bernie Sanders or whatever. It was this terrible idea. So we can learn a lot of lessons for them. I wanted to say Nitro 1000 said convert existing politicians. That is an absolutely amazing idea. Someone had brought that up in another live stream I did, and absolutely I agree. Like, we don't necessarily have to go and create all new politicians. Like, UBI can be a winning, platform for, or addition to existing candidates or existing legislators platforms. We're gonna have to run here in just a minute, guys. Do you wanna? I'll be right back.
Hey, dang boss! Hey, I have a hat too. Hey, don't be mean. I just don't want to wear it. So, Heidi, friends here. I think that we might have to stop our live stream, but they wanna. If you guys wanna like, you guys wanna say hi?
They do not want to say hi. Yang gang, we gotta go.
So we gotta go. Thank you for 29 people that kind of been watching me and Heidi kind
For
of
an hour.
rumbling for like an hour.
You're 29 right now.
Oh, it's Angelo. It's Nitro. It's Angelo.
Oh, yeah. So the same guy. Okay. Angelo said it last time.
Bye.
Okay, bye guys. We love you.
Follow me on Twitter.
You probably, yeah. Follow her, BB Lovely on Twitter. Bye guys. Let me see if I know how to end this.